Hello and thank you for watching today's tutorial video. In today's video, we're going to show you how to break down and troubleshoot the Maxima mobility scooter by Pride Mobility. But before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you're automatically going to get entered into a giveaway. We give away a mobility scooter every 6 months, and we release awesome content all the time, so be sure to subscribe and enable notifications. And also, if you want to claim a copy of our free product catalog, go to our website and click on the green button that says free catalog, fill out the short form, and it should be in your mailbox in about 1 to 2 weeks. With that being said, let's get started. The Maxima mobility scooter has been known as one of the best and most dependable mobility scooters that can handle up to 500 pounds. It comes in a 3 and a 4-wheel configuration, and we're going to show you how to break it down. The first thing you need to do is take the seat off. It's very straightforward. Just pick straight up without tilting in any direction. Once the seat's off, just go ahead and pop off the battery cover and unstrap the batteries. There's a little strap with a buckle, a little bit of Velcro. There's really nothing to it. Just go ahead and remove that strap and then disconnect the main harness connectors for each battery. They plug right into a receiving end underneath the back panel, and you'll just need to pop them out and then take the batteries out one at a time and put them to the side to make room. Since this scooter is a heavy-duty 500-pound weight capacity scooter, we actually had to get a scooter lift to raise it up. If you don't have a scooter lift, I recommend getting one. You can find them on Amazon. They're pretty affordable. You can get manual ones or automatic ones. We have a manual crank one here, so we just put the platform right underneath the frame and started cranking up. Now the scooter is lifted up off the ground and we can begin to disassemble and break it down. The first thing we're going to need to do is disconnect the bumper guards. On the left and the right side of the scooter there's a bumper guard, and you will need a wrench to take out the bolts that are holding those bumper guards in place. So we got our wrench here in the right size socket, and we're going in underneath. You can't really get in there with a power tool. You kind of have to use something low profile like a manual hand wrench, and just go ahead and unscrew those bolts. The threadings are pretty long on each bolt, so it will take some time. We're fast forwarding it to save time, but the process is pretty straightforward. Once you have the first one removed, you'll just rinse and repeat on the left side. So once both of them are out, you want to make sure to keep your bolts and your nuts handy. Don't lose them. There's a lot of nuts and bolts that we're going to go through, so make sure you pay attention to where they all belong. The next step, once you have the side rails off, is to just go ahead and remove the floor cover. There's a little mat on the floorboard. It pops right out, and then you're going to want to get a Phillips head drill to remove all of the screws on the floorboard. While you're there, just get them all out. Look for any possible screws and get them all out on the floorboard. There's quite a few of them. They're all the same size, so just make sure you group them together when you're done removing all of them, and eventually you're going to feel that the floorboard comes out. The strap for the batteries needs to be fished out. You don't need to fish it out completely. It's kind of a pain to put it back in, so if you can and you have the space, I recommend only fishing out the battery strap from one side and leaving it hanging out on the other side so you don't have to refish it through the tiny little slits on the body panel there. Now what we're doing is grabbing a really long Phillips head drill bit extender so that we can get underneath the scooter and have enough distance on that drill bit extender to actually reach the bottom side of the screw that holds the rear body panel to the frame. And I'm pointing it out here, but it is kind of hard to see. There's really no way to get a good camera angle. Essentially, you just need to pay attention to the curved frame bar that's on each side towards the rear, and that framing assembly there is where the screws are going to come in from the bottom through the top to hold that rear panel in place. You can see I just took the screw out and I'm rinsing and repeating on the right side. So again, it's hard to point out, but go back in the video and make sure you're aiming in the right place to get those screws out to release the rear body panel. There are 2 additional screws in the rear that you'll need to remove with your drill bit, and make sure to keep your drill on the lowest torque setting and work your way up so that you don't strip any of the screws. The last thing you're going to want to do is disconnect the power cables that run through the circuit breaker reset switch. There's a little plastic bubble going over the switch, and that's used to preserve your motor and controller in case there's any spikes in voltage. So once you have that removed, we labeled it with some yellow tape to remember which side goes where, and then you need to just fish the automatic brake lever with the yellow handle through the hole on the rear shroud cover. It does extend outwards from the right 90-degree angle position that it's in, so straighten it out and then pull it through. Before you take the body panel off from the rear, you will need to disconnect the connectors for the right and the left turn signal. It's actually the running lights in the back and the turn signal lights that are connected there. They do have labels on them for the right and the left side connectors, which is pretty convenient, and it's nice that Pride does that. It really speaks to their build quality and engineering department's abilities. The next thing we're doing is removing the column cover at the base of the steering column, and then you have to remove the tiller adjustment lever. It's kind of like a lever that's in the shape of a knob, and it unscrews and you can pull it right off. So again, you want to make sure you take that off and then start removing the additional screws on the steering column on the back side, which there are about 6 screws in total, and not including the 2 that we already took off below the pivot point of the steering column assembly. So once you do that, you're going to need to move to the front of the steering column and actually remove the screws that are used to hold the basket. So the bracket for the basket attachment, you'll need to remove those screws, and then the entire front cover of the shroud should be able to get loose. You will need to disconnect the handbrake assembly on the left side so that the handbrake cable becomes loose, and that way you can actually remove the handbrake from the tiller handlebar assembly completely, and it should be loose, just kind of hanging out. So once it's loose and the brake assembly is free, then the front cover of the steering column assembly is completely loose, and you'll just need to go in there and start disconnecting the connections or checking them to see if there's anything loose. Sometimes the wires do detach themselves from the connectors, but there's essentially a set of wires that come from each component, including the horn, the turn signals, the battery meter, the potentiometer, and the speed control knob. Once you can identify the connectors for each component, it becomes pretty easy to troubleshoot each component. So if you're having some issues with the horn, check the wires on the horn. If you're having an issue with your battery meter, check the connection on the battery meter. If you need to replace any of these parts, it's pretty straightforward. Most of them are just held on with a nut, and there's some threading on the actual component that goes through the top of the dash into the inside of the dash. So if you need to replace the speed control knob or the battery meter, you can disconnect it, purchase the replacement part, and reconnect it, as long as you know how to take the scooter apart and check the connections. They're all pretty straightforward connections with male and female connectors. And now we're just moving to the front of the scooter to start disassembling the steering column and front bumper assembly. So there are 2 screws underneath the Maxima insignia logo, and once you remove that logo plate with a flathead screwdriver, you'll be able to access the 2 screws in the front to disconnect the front plastic body cover, and that will allow you to disconnect the light clips for the front turn signal lights and headlights. They are labeled, which again speaks to the quality of their engineering and building, so you can see the right and the left sticker label for the right and left headlights and turn signals. At this point, the scooter is pretty much fully disassembled. You can see a really big controller there with the power connectors that feed in both of the 12-volt batteries right into the controller. You also have the electromagnetic brake clip, the electromagnetic brake lever with the yellow handle to turn off and turn on the electromagnetic brakes. You have another set of clips for sending the signals from the controller that gets power from the battery up to the control panel on the dash. And again, everything is labeled, even the technician port that you can use to plug in a controller programmer to change the parameters of the controller. There's a little buzzer there which you can disconnect easily if you don't like the buzzer. And then again, the 2 power cables that go into the breaker to cut out power if some of the components are seeing a spike in voltage. It's used to protect those components like the motor and the controller. Now if you pay attention to the wiring, it goes right under the frame through a metal channel, kind of like a raceway, and the main cables just feed right through that hole on the bottom part of the frame, right up to the steering column neck, and all the way through to the dash. So you can actually see all of those wires kind of running through from the base of the steering column all the way up. And just like we were talking about before, everything including the ignition and the charging cable, the USB charging port area and the actual battery charging port area, they all have their own little connectors Here we have the horn clip for the horn. You can remove that buzzer if you don't want the horn. And basically everything that's in this dash area and the Delta Tiller assembly as a whole is going to have a component that has wires, and almost all of those components have a clip with a label on it, so it becomes very easy to find replacement parts. Most of these clips have model numbers or SKU numbers on them for each replacement part. So as long as you know how to access these components, and if you need to do a little soldering, clipping of some wires, and then resoldering those wires together, it becomes very easy to troubleshoot this product. We're not going to tear the scooter down further by removing the motor or taking out the wheels or the brake assembly, but we felt that this was going to be sufficient enough to show you how to take the scooter apart and start troubleshooting it. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Again, all you need to do is subscribe for a chance to win a free scooter every 6 months. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, topic suggestions, or anything that you think we missed, please go to our comment section and leave a comment below and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. I'm Sergio with Mobility Direct. Have a great day. Before you go, please don't forget to visit our website, mobilitydirect.com, and click on the green button that says Free Catalog to claim your very own free catalog. Just fill out the short form and it should get to you in about a week or two max. I just want to take this time to personally thank each and every one of you for watching this video. We couldn't do it without our subscribers. So if you like our content, please go to YouTube, search for Mobility Direct, and subscribe to our channel. You can enable notifications. That way you'll get notified whenever we release new videos. We're constantly making great videos. We have tons of playlists that range from repair videos, unboxing videos, research and development, and much, much more. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and ask any questions in the comments section below. We love hearing from our audience, whether it's feedback, comments, or suggestions for a new video topic. We love hearing from you. None of this could be done without our loyal audience. We hope to hear from you. Thanks for watching again. Have a great day.